Hello there, I am Larissa Pena. I am the Executive Manager and Legal Officer of the Caribbean Association of Judicial Officers. I'm also a Judicial Counsel with the Caribbean Court of Justice and an attorney at law admitted to practice in Trinidad and Tobago. Happy International Women's Day. Today is a day to recognize female achievement and a call to action encouraging everyone to stand up for women's rights. Throughout our history, women have had to fight for freedom and the rights that many women enjoy today. About 150 years ago, women were not allowed to own property, access legal support, get paid the same as men, be educated, or even aspire to a career or a profession such as a judge. In fact, there are many areas in the world today where women still do not enjoy these rights. Women are not allowed to be educated and they are forced into marriages. Today I'm joined by the Honorable Madam Justice Vivian Georges Taylor Alexander, with whom I've had the pleasure of working with in the past. And I can say that Justice Taylor Alexander is a strong, creative, independent, forward-thinking, and graceful woman. Justice Taylor Alexander is relatable to so many of us women, as she is a woman wearing many hats. Not only is she a mother and a wife, she's a judge of the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court and vice chair of the Caribbean Association of Judicial Officers. Thank you so much for making the time to chat with us. I know that you're a very busy lady, and in fact, you have a trial this week to prepare for. As a strong, successful woman, I would like to ask for your views on some pressing issues facing women today. Why do you think it is important to celebrate International Women's Day?
Our Caribbean territories are signatories to the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, and we have pledged to work to continue to realize the objectives of the Convention, some of which are the right to equality in family life, education, marriage, equality before the law, and in the public sphere. The women of the Caribbean have made significant strides, and the region is recognized as being a leader in having women in key and prominent positions. But in recent years, and with the onset of COVID-19 too, the narrowing gap in our attainment of equality has begun to again widen. That is why it is important to celebrate International Women's Day. It is so that we remain forever vigilant, that we continue to reach down, to stretch a helping hand to those striving upward, and to celebrate why we must look up to the many role models who have presented themselves as strong figures for us to emulate.
The UNDP released new findings in 2020 from 80 countries as part of its Gender Social Norms Index. The studies revealed that about 90% of men and women hold some sort of bias against women. There can be conscious and unconscious bias, where persons may not even be aware that they are biased. Do you believe that women in our region face bias?
I think we all have an obligation to ensure that we audit ourselves and our environment to be alive to those biases which we face even from ourselves as women. In order to identify how we tackle it in our environment, a self-audit to assess how we deal with persons in our work environment, our team, how we provide feedback and criticism to persons around us, and the assumptions we make of persons that feel those biases. This self-examination, I believe, will make us more alive to similar situations in our environment.
What actions can be taken to level the playing field for women?
That's a strong question. Difficult to answer because there are a myriad of issues that women in our environment face. Each can be unique. But I think we must be conscious of the obstacles that continue to exist for women at every level and understand our obligation to each other. First, to understand their difficulty, even if it is not one that we have faced personally. But in trying to understand their difficulty, we can begin in whatever small way to throw a lifeline to help.
What is the most important advice that you were given as a woman in your career?
I'm not sure. I cannot recall at all. What I can say is that every interaction, every job, every experience that I have had is an opportunity for growth and for self-examination. As women, we can grow even from our negative experiences. And as such, the advice would be to live, to strive, to grow, and not to be deterred by adversity that will come.
How can we encourage young women to pursue leadership positions in their career and to develop their voice in society?
I think the Caribbean is at the forefront of showing the possibilities available to women and the ability of our own women. Our region has had and continues more so to have women in very prominent positions: governors general, chief justices, prime ministers, attorneys general, to name a few. Outstanding businesswomen and celebrities have even arisen from our ranks. So we know we are capable. What we must recognize and do for each other is to reach out a hand and encourage each other. Those of us who are in a position to influence change, that we do so to ensure that those among us who are plagued by obstacles, that we do what we can to help remove and to help overcome these obstacles.
In the context of the legal profession in the Caribbean, what advice do you have for women attorneys and judicial officers?
You are your best self when you are committed to helping someone else. There are so many persons who have not had the opportunity that you have had. Understand that your opportunity was a gift bestowed for the use of others. Reach up and find a role model to emulate. Reach down and pull up as many as you can. Reach across the aisle and mend broken bridges. Despite everything, we still need each other.
If you can have dinner with any three women, alive or dead, who would they be?
Oh, that one is easy. The first would be Ruth Bader Ginsburg, for many reasons, but in particular, because she seemed undeterred despite the obvious adversity she faced from gender bias. Hers is an example of how to fight for both men and women who were seemingly left behind. Secondly, Dame Janice Pereira, the Chief Justice of the OACS. She is the first female and longest serving Chief Justice of the OACS. She's a pioneer, a visionary who drove the court through reform after reform to keep pace with our changing world, despite the unconscious bias that she would have faced. She remained undeterred. For me, she is a role model and someone whom I aspire to be like. And finally, my mother, not a professional woman, but throughout my lifetime, she epitomized, despite her small frame, what the qualities of a strong woman are. In my eyes, she's gigantic. She was a working mother, a wife, a caregiver, and a very present mother despite the demands of her job as a public servant. Every day, I appreciate even more what was her quiet, unassuming strength.
Thank you so much for your valuable time and sharing your words of wisdom with us. Happy International Women's Day.